What is going on, Sabres fans, and welcome to another episode of the Sabres Spotlight podcast, where we shine a light on all things Sabres hockey. Ryan, what's going on?
A lot's been going on, buddy. I mean, we haven't recorded in a couple months now. The last time we said we were going to record was, before the NHL draft, and we said we'd recap it, and then time kind of just is very different now as a parent. Like, obviously, you would know, you've been in the weeds of parenthood for 4 years now, with two children, and time just doesn't exist still. Like, I don't know if I'll ever get back the, you know, suddenly you come home from work and it's 8:30. Like that just happens every single day. And so when we want to record, we're like, let's do it this day. And then, we're either like out or you're out or we're both like, we're just tired because, we're dads and like, that's hard or like, taking care of our wives who are also like working hard and tired. And it's like, damn, dude, how do people do this? It's so hard. But all that to say, I'm really happy that we're recording tonight because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, and here we are. We're back to it because we're committed to the Sabres, even though they drive us crazy. We
Yeah,
can't give them up.
dude,
We can't give them up no
dude.
matter how
So
much they disappoint us.
funny. It's
It's been
funny
two
that
months. I just looked. It's basically been like 2 months, but we did disclaim last time that it was going to be a little spotty over the summer.
it's really funny that you say that we're committed to the Sabres and how bad they are because ESPN just put out like this little tool where you can enter in your favorite teams and they give you like a WONUS rating, like WOENESS rating.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
if you enter in the
Okay,
Sabres,
yeah,
man, they're just
like whoa
last.
me.
Like they're just last. It's insane. It's like, out of 100, they're like a 99. It's bonkers. But obviously, like when you don't go to the playoffs for as long as we have, what is there to be happy about?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, I was looking up. I was at work today, and I saw they had a thing on about like NFL franchises and their market value, and I was just curious, so I just looked up like where the Bills stand, and not surprising because it's Buffalo's smaller market and things like that. Even though the Bills are like a mega giant, still in the NFL with Josh Allen, but do you know where? Do you have a guess where the Bills rank out of like 32 NFL teams?
23, I would say.
Nope, nope, lower,
Lower? Yeah, okay. How about 27? There's got to be like six teams that are more
lower, lower.
really in the 30s.
They were 30th, and I
Wow.
I know I think so. I think Cincinnati was last, and then I can't remember who was 31st, but it was Cincinnati, and then someone, and then the Bills. Whatever, but they were valued at like whatever, like 4.2 billion
Oh,
dollars or
yeah, like
something. So,
it's numbers that
well,
aren't
just
even
for shits and
real.
giggles, then I went and looked at yeah. So I went and looked at the NHL, and I was just like curious of like, oh, where do the Sabres rank in this? And the first thing I noticed is like it's kind of staggering to see just like the difference in like because the biggest NHL franchise is well, I'm sure you could guess the Toronto Maple Leafs. They were number one, and they were valued at like 2.8 billion, which like
Hmm.
would not have even made the list of like NFL. Like it's just a difference in the two teams. Like the Cincinnati was the lowest NFL, and it was like 4 point something billion still, and and a lot of the teams were just like in the millions, for hockey. Um, the Sabres, do you want to guess where they were and for the NHL?
Last.
They weren't last, and I don't know if it was it might very well be next year. They had Utah ranked last,
I
which
wouldn't
I
do
mean, I
that.
guess makes sense just because it's the whole Arizona like that's probably where Arizona was like
Yeah,
ranked
but I mean,
maybe, and then but that's going to go up obviously.
yeah, Salt Lake is a bigger city compared to Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo is one of the smallest markets in all of sports. Like, it's actually a miracle that we have two major league teams like this.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, the valuation is like whatever. That's just a number, but obviously we have like some of the best like hardcore fans here for both hockey and in football for sure. But let's have you been real quick before we get jump into the Sabres real quick. What are you thinking about Hard Knocks? I haven't watched, but are you liking it?
You know what's funny? So I've seen a lot of complaints that people have been saying that it's boring, but like what what were you expecting? Like the Bills are a good team. There's minimal drama. Like the biggest drama over the last little while is the James Cook stuff, and that really wasn't even drama because he was there and like, practicing sometimes and going through meetings. So it wasn't even like, it's not like Terrell Owens doing exercises in front of his house in 2007, talking about how much of an asshole he thinks Andy Reid is and like the Eagles. So it's like there's no drama here. There's no drama.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I've liked it
And
so
there's
far.
no
It's
digs
been a little
anymore,
fun,
so it's
dude.
like
You know who's really funny? KJ Hamler, really funny guy. Through two episodes, there's been nothing featuring Keon Coleman yet, which I'm a little surprised by, considering like the character that he is and how funny he is. But I've thought so far like it's
yeah,
been
yeah,
it's behind the scenes stuff and just little tidbits and fun about the Bills and like what's not to love. I mean, I don't I, they're a good team. Like this is the first time they've ever done a good team. So, you know, what are you
yeah,
looking for?
yeah. I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure they'll have Keon Coleman on there a little bit. People just like to complain about things, for sure. But the James
Everything?
Cook news was exciting. Yeah, seriously, everything. And but signing James Cook was good, and there'll obviously be a contender there, this year. So that's exciting. Everything around that organization right now is exciting. Yeah, they're no
Oh,
nonsense. But
dude,
let's
lots
get
of here.
into
Hold on, hold on. Lots of Terry Pagula in there.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But actually, it's so funny because like the Bills fan side of my brain looks at Terry and I love him and like he comes across like pretty well in the episodes. He's just like a fan, He's just hanging out with Brandon Bean, talking with Thurman Thomas. He's just a fan. And then my Sabres fan side of my brain is like, I hate this guy. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's total Jekyll and Hyde. But let's move on to the Sabres here then. We'll go from one no nonsense organization to a nonsense organization, but we won't be super negative today. We're gonna try and stay optimistic about the team because there's no reason to be down like on the team right now, at least until we get maybe a few weeks into the season and maybe we're seeing the same thing. But for right now, let's chat about what they did. I think we'll start with the moves, obviously, because the roster's pretty much set in stone. They have a little bit of cap space lingering right now, but it's not like there's anything really significant out there. So, barring like a massive trade or anything, which I don't think anything like that is coming, then what we currently have is likely what we're going to get. And we can talk about, what we might see combinations and lineups and things like that. But let's kind of start with let's start with the big news, of course, the trade. Peterka, we both predicted this on our last show. The last time we met was kind of before free agency started, right before the draft. I think it was like a week before the draft or a few days before the draft. So we hadn't had the draft yet. We hadn't had any of the free agent or the UFA signings, none of the RFA extensions, none of the trade news or anything like that. So we'll start with the biggest news of all, the JJ Peterka trade to the Utah Mammoth, no longer the Utah Hockey Club, and for defenseman Michael Kesselring and Josh Doan. So let's start there. What were your initial thoughts, and then like what are you kind of thinking now that you've had some time to kind of sit on it and digest, and maybe take in some of the stuff that's come out a little bit afterwards about how it all transpired?
Um, I think it's funny because like I like the two pieces that we got back in the trade, but also like don't think that was enough of a deal if you're trading out JJ Peterka. But over time, I've also felt that maybe it was a good trade like for us because Josh Doan is a dog and Michael Kesselring brings much needed elements on the Sabres back end. Like he's a shooter. He probably plays with Owen Power. He could easily play with Rasmus Dahlin, and they haven't. We'll talk about it later when we talk about the other moves. but I feel like Kesselring is a piece added to the decor on a decor that I don't think has been this good in like 15 years.
Yeah, he definitely bolsters the blue line. It's funny because the initial reaction for everybody, and I think ourselves included, just kind of texting afterwards is, all right, let's not. This was like the first big thing, right? So it was kind of like, let's not overreact to things right now because there's probably more, hopefully more kind of coming down the road as we get into the draft a little bit more and see what happens with some of the RFAs and things like that. Is there any more trades coming? So that was kind of the initial reaction. And then now we kind of have all the information. And so, like, nothing really significant was done. And so you are kind of left with this, like, feeling of we gave up the best player in the trade for sure in JJ Peterka, but the fit, it's seemingly a fit for Kesselring to come in and bolster the defense and hopefully kind of be that that final, D pair for Owen Power and just kind of let him become more efficient and just have someone consistent that he can play with that's a little bit more defensively responsible. And he's not like I mean, he's fought before and he hits and he throws a body around, but he's not like a bruiser, so
Right, right.
it's not like he's like an enforcer out there. I think that was kind of an initial thought because we're so thirsty for that as Sabres fans, but I don't necessarily think we're getting that from him. But just someone that Power can kind of play with consistently, and we'll see what happens with those ultimately. I don't really know much about Josh Doan other than what you've kind of said, that he's kind of an all around player, and it seems like he can also be defensively responsible, maybe like a lower tier Alex Tuck, like a third or fourth line guy that just kind of can do a little bit of it all and is going to work his tail off, when he's out there. So I think we gave up the best player, but there's reports that he didn't want to be here anyways, which we kind of figured. So I don't
Yeah,
know what you think about that, but
weird reporting around JJ, and like I thought like I gotta give credit to Frank Saravalli because I was sending Frank memes, all sorts of stuff, slandering him, saying that he knows nothing about Peterka wanting to leave. But no, I guess he really truly did want to leave, and it's like, damn, dude, like we would have paid you. Like it has been confirmed that the Sabres offered JJ a respectable
I
deal,
don't
and
think we
he's.
wanted to though.
I think we
But like
did.
I'm saying, the Sabres may have wanted to, but I don't think we did. Like I was on board of even last year, like
You wanted
let's
to trade
trade
him,
him.
yeah.
Like I was kind of
I
out on Peterka. I could tell.
I was neither he nor there. I was like, I would love to extend him. I like JJ, but also like the potential package we could get for JJ was enticing. And like the more I think about it, I'm like not mad about the trade. Like I was never mad. It's underwhelming until we see how the pieces work together. I don't think you can really judge the trade until you see, what we're doing in October.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we could look back and say, Peterka, like, is he probably going to score if he stays healthy? Which he has. I mean, he's been a durable player. Is he going to score 35, goals again next season? Probably, especially on Utah if he's going to be playing on their top line. I mean, he's going to have some pretty good line mates. Like that top line over there is going to be buzzing, and so his counting stats are probably going to look great at the end of next season, probably similar to what he did this year. And when you have those type of stats, you're going to demand the contract that he got. I agree with you. I think the Sabres probably wanted him to stay. He was kind of like a draft pick of theirs that actually worked out for them, and they kind of developed. And you want to try and retain those guys, especially as management. Like when you have those success stories, you don't want to lose those guys because they kind of like become like your kids. But he very clearly wanted out,
Yep.
and that's kind of like a narrative in Buffalo that I know like aggravates people. But if he did, which I understand, but like if he did want out, and you could see some of that on the ice, and he's going to put up counting stats, sure, but did it not fit in with like the mold of your team as much? You hate losing that scoring, but can these pieces just make more of a team? I think there's potential there. We'll just have to see it play out on the ice.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Or, JJ could just dump 40 goals on our head and be like, you should have kept me. I don't know. We'll see. We do play them like early in the season, so that's pretty exciting.
I was just going to ask you that because he's, and we can move on from this after this, but he is coming here, and I want to say November. I think it's like
Yep, it's
it's
pretty
within the
early.
first couple months, like you said. Like, do you think he's gonna, you think he's gonna get booed?
No, I think he won't get booed. He'll get a tribute video. I mean, he was a good soldier, like no doubt. I mean, he just I don't know. It got real weird at the end there with him, and it's interesting because he's on one of the it's that narrative that like guys only leave Buffalo, which is like only semi true. Like it's not like that really. Like guys want to get out of here at all
Oh,
the time.
plenty of guys have re-signed here.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
just like okay, here's
I,
another one just to add
I
to the
mean,
game.
guys come here and stay. Like,
Yeah, that too. Guys come here and love it and stay, and
yeah,
like
but
if
you
you're
had
good, it'd be great.
yeah, look at Jason Zucker. You know,
Yep.
he re-upped here, and Jordan Greenway re-upped. You just had Ryan McLeod, you know, re-up. I mean, Jack Wint's like Bowen Byram said, like so. They do sign their guys, and there are guys that want to stay, but. I think you're good. I don't think it's going to be heavy booze like Eichel, of course, because that was that whole saga. But I
Yeah.
think he's going to hear some booze, whether
Yeah.
you're a Bill, it wouldn't happen for the Bills, but whether you're a Bill or a Saber, like if you say anything negative about the city, which he didn't necessarily say, but it's known that he wanted out, like it's going to leave a salty taste in people's mouths, and I think he should probably expect to get to hear some booze, and I think that's fine. Like
Yeah. It's part of
that's just
sports.
sports, I
It's part of
guess.
sports. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to next deal. Here was Connor for Connor. So Sabres trade Clifton and pick 39 for defenseman Connor Timmins and Isaac. I don't know how to say this last name. Bolivier,
Beliveau.
is that right?
Beliveau.
Beliveau. All right. Yeah. So what are your
Yeah,
thoughts
he's a
there?
nothing player. It's so funny, dude. Like, Adams just hates second round picks, bro. Just hates them. He's like, you know what? I got a second round pick. I'm gonna trade it. That's his MO. So we give up.
Well, JJ
You
was a
know,
second round pick.
yeah, that is true. We give up. We the pick. We attach it to Connor Clifton to get his salary off the roster and bring in Connor Timmins, who is a decent player. Like he's going to be on the third pair. Him and Samuelson theoretically should be like a decent third pair. Like it should be like a third pair that wins their minutes. So, like I said, like this is going to be interesting to see how it all comes together because on paper, I really like the look of this decor, and Timmins is another piece that just adds to the overall shape of it.
He's also a righty, so it looks like they kind of wanted to get, maybe he's Adams and maybe Lindy has some influence here of just kind of shifting away from like, hey, we didn't care about handedness, like we're just going to get all these talented players, and that's of course been a flaw of Adams. Like we've kind of always been critical of just getting players and amassing talent is fine, but it not having any direction there. So it seems like they kind of made a little bit of a decision to maybe target some more righties just to try and kind of even things out a little bit. And yeah, if he slides in, I mean, he signed a 2 year deal worth 2.2. So if he's, I mean, it's a relatively modest deal, 2.2 a year, so 4.4 total. But I
Yep,
mean, that's fine for a third line pair. And if him and Samuelson work out, then whatever. I mean, I
it's
we
it's
all
better
kind of
than
have
playing.
sour.
It's better than playing Jacob Bryson.
Yeah. Bryson just like he likes to watch half the games, and that's fine. He's happy doing that, and that's why we signed him to that deal.
That's so good.
But what I was gonna say about Samuelson was just we all have like kind of a sour taste in our mouth about him from last season. But I'm also kind of holding out hope that because we need to, that he can kind of figure his shit out like going into this season. Because if he can just be a stable defenseman for us, I don't know what it was last year. If it was all like new coach and maybe something was wrong. He was banged up. I don't know because he was just like whatever it was. If he can become more stable, like that's important because it'll help the Sabres a lot. So hopefully that
Yeah,
can happen.
I agree.
All right, let's move on to the UFAs. I don't think we have to spend too much time here.
You
There was
skipped
only a
over. You skipped
couple.
over trading. You know, Sam Lafferty. All
Yeah,
right,
okay, all right. I mean,
get it. We got this guy off the roster. That's all that matters. Thank you. That's it. That's all we got to say.
hey, those picks, those 6 round picks, you never know, man. You never
Yeah,
know.
you never know. It's a lottery ticket.
What was Levi?
A
Wasn't
seven.
wasn't Levi like a 6 round pick?
A seven.
Exactly. You never know.
Yeah,
So,
he sucks though.
and I mean, the jury's still out on him too. I guess you know. So well, you don't like him, I know. All right, UFA signings: Justin Danforth and Alex Lyon. Modest UFA signings, but they've retained a lot of their guys and made a couple trades. So not necessarily a need, I guess, to bring in a ton of guys. Everyone was hoping for a big fish that never happened. But what do you think about these two signings here?
Love the Alex Lyon signing. I think he's exactly what we
Yeah.
need in the locker room. And he's a good backup. If UPL falters, I feel like he can get the lion's share of starts and be perfectly fine. He's also a guy that
Oh,
if
I
Devin
like that
Levi
lion pun.
if Devin Levi does like have an insane summer and he comes in and he's just like so good that it's just he's an impenetrable wall and it really is time for him to come up to the NHL. I would have no problem sending Alex Lyon down to the AHL potentially, trying to slip him through waivers. But hopefully it doesn't come to that and like UPL and Lyon is like a good tandem. I like this deal. It's good. It's smart. It's smart to not. Um, I was worried they were going to do UPL Levi and just call it just Kevin just said we got our two goalies and that's it.
I
So
mean, Adams kind of said he was fine with that.
yeah, I that scared me. That scared me a lot because like we just did this last year or 2 years ago, and it was like it was a train wreck last year. And the other deal, Justin Danforth, he's like a little guy, little forward. He's gonna run around and hit people. He's gonna fight. Pretty much exactly what we kind of needed in the fourth, like as an energy guy. We don't have like Peyton Krebs is an energy guy. This guy's an energy guy. So imagine Peyton Krebs and this guy just running around, yapping in people's faces, biting off their ankles, slashing them and stuff. That's what we're getting out of this guy, and it's a perfectly fine player to bring into the organization.
So he's a little water bug.
Basic, yeah, but he's gonna fuck you up.
Okay. All right. I don't know much about Danforth other than what you just told me there, but
Yeah,
I'm excited to see him play. And um, if he's got energy, then that's great because that's what the team needs. I'm with you on the Lion signing. I think it's good. You're hedging on Levi for another year or two if he doesn't, show that he's ready for the NHL quite yet. And I'm
right.
glad that he did that. I think that's another example, not necessarily giving Adams credit here because these have all been failures, but at least another example of them kind of learning from past mistakes and not relying on, Levi to just be this like exception to the rule that this young goalie that just kind of comes up and catches fire and never loses it. So I like the Alex Lyon signing. It seems like he's got a steady head as well. He's kind of been around a little bit, and he's been played for a few teams. So I'm hoping he can come in and be comfortable with the new team. And like you said, if UPL is inconsistent and he needs to make a run, then I mean, heck, we saw it last year from. Oh, why am I blanking on the name now? Who was the backup last year?
Um, fuck, dude.
We're both blanking.
We are because I'm still thinking Craig Anderson. It was an
He came in at
older
the end
goalie
of
that
the
like
older guy, right? He came in at
yeah, he was great.
he he came in at the
I
end
don't
of the
know.
season and
It's
was
been
just
too long.
cranking it.
I've been checked out of
That
Sabres,
is
so I forgot.
hilarious. That is hilarious that we both forgot his name. But anyways, he's a little bit younger, and I think he can work out fine. But we'll come back to that name in a minute when one of us has a second to look it up for sure. But all right, how about RFAs here? I wrote down kind of the main ones, but let's
Reimer.
let's start with McLeod. Oh yeah, Reimer. Okay, there you go. Yeah, yeah. I would not have remembered that. I was thinking Craig Anderson. I'm like, no, Craig Anderson was
Yeah,
like 2 years ago. I'm like, but then it
so was
was
I, man.
another older vet. Yeah, yeah, Reimer, he was solid. Let's start with McLeod. 4 year extension, 5 million AAV. So McLeod commits to Buffalo. This was not surprising. I think he enjoyed coming here and having more responsibility, and he was versatile. You know, he played on many lines and produced on many lines, and he was active on the penalty kill, and he just a smart player, and he liked it here. He liked the added responsibility, and he succeeded here. So. You would get those players once in a while, like we said, who come to Buffalo and like it and thrive here, and he did, and the team, signs him to this deal. What do you think about the 4 years, the number?
Uh, it's a perfect deal. It's great. He's our third line center. He could play second line center in spot duty, if he needs to. He plays penalty kill. I'm not opposed to him getting power play minutes on the second power play. He's just a good player and a guy that it's a really nice find by Kevin Adams. Like I don't think about Matt Savoy at all because Ryan McLeod is really good.
The question here, I agree with you, but like third line center, fine, but like who is our second line center right now?
It's going to be Yuri Kulik or Josh Norris. Listen, if Josh Norris plays 4 games
Right.
and spontaneously combusts, Brian McLeod is your second line center, potentially your first line center, and that's when I'm like, okay, I don't like that at all. That's a little scary.
I know that's the thing. That's the thing. What's tough about that is like, of course, there's Norris. You just don't know and again the team is kind of banking on Kulik to be a first or second line guy. My guess is they want him to be the second line. But yeah, I mean McLeod's going to be in that 2-3 spot. It's a little scary going into the season. Needing to bank on Kulik, to be that, and maybe it's unfair to even expect that from him, but that's just kind of the position that we found ourselves in. But I mean, we
I don't
both
know.
like
I
Kulik the
think he's
player,
good.
so I mean,
Dude, I think Kulik is a good player. I think Kulik is
me
good enough
too.
to play on a second line like right now. I don't know where this narrative comes from that he's not ready for a second line role.
I'm with you. I'm with you. That's just playing devil's advocate on my end,
Yeah.
I guess, of
Yeah,
just
we got to
like
work off each other on the
like
show. I
he's a
get it.
young
I get it.
kid, and it's just tough because the thing that scares you a little bit is just that he showed promise, and you'd rather have it that way than the other way. Like the what you don't want is to be like, oh, he's played 70 games and you haven't seen any promise. Like he's shown that he's an NHLer. It's just okay. Well, is he ready to be a first or second line center? I think we both think so. I think he could definitely be a second line center. He did. He showed better usage of his body last year. He was more physical on pucks, and he was starting to narrow out his game a little bit, driving some offense and look comfortable with neutral zone movement and things like that. So I'm comfortable with it too. It's just more so like with the young players, you just never know what's going to happen from one season to the next. So hopefully he just keeps that kind of upward trajectory. It's been that way his whole career, even going back a few years in Rochester. He's just ascended. So I don't have any reason to think it's going to stop, but it's just a precaution, I guess.
Can I add some tidbits about like we've been off for a while, so obviously like a lot of narratives have been shaped and things have come out, but I believe it may have been Craig Rivet on an episode of After the Whistle. He talked about how he went golfing with Michael Pekka, and Pekka was always like the Peterka guy, like huge Peterka guy. Loved him when he coached him in Rochester. But he said something that like struck me when it comes to Kulik, where he said that like Peterka is kind of like the nonchalant guy. He'll come in and he'll do his thing and he'll produce and he's a worker. But where Kulik is just a killer. Like Kulik will come in and just working hard, like, isn't good enough. Like, he wants to be just good, just way better than you at everything. Like, he wants to come in and dominate. So, like, I'm really excited about that mentality in a young player, to see how, like you said, he can ascend because having your mind right is like probably half the battle in a young NHL player. So if he comes in and he says, fuck it, I'm the second line center. I deserve to be here. I'm going to produce. I'm going to be a beast on pucks. Then we got a special player in our hands. And from what it sounds like, is that he has that kind of mentality.
Wow, you just got me so hyped, dude. I might go buy like a Cooley jersey right now. But I agree, man. I'm with you. I mean, I like his trajectory, and I think it's unfair to just say like, oh, he's young, So like, what can we expect? It's something to consider, but yeah, he's going to have the opportunity to be either that first or second line guy, and it'll be up to him to go and take that role and run with it. And he's going to be playing with some good players, who can hopefully support him. So
It, it's
Tage
it's
talked last year about how much he loved playing with Kulik.
it's so funny how the Ryan McLeod conversation was just like, yeah, he's really good, but how about Yuri Kulik?
Well, because I think that's the thing with McLeod is it's like what you have in him. There's
Yep.
there's no worries there. Like who he is, and like I think 4 years, 5 million AAV just kind of sums up McLeod perfectly.
Yeah, I do
Like
too.
players who get that deal are like they're just solid NHL guys.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So he's just getting that mediocre contract that is just you go out there and do what you're supposed to do, and we know you can do, and you'll be fine. But yeah, I'm happy he's staying because he's good. Let's go to Quinn next.
How do you feel about this one?
2 year extension, 3.375. Ah man, this is tough. I mean, I'd like to say optimistic. I like Jack Quinn. He's had a couple injuries, and it's just been up and down. But for like a 2 year bridge deal like this, it's like, I mean, the money is what it is. I don't care about that. It basically just buys you 2 more years to see if he fits, right? And you were going to the thought was you were going to have to pay. You were going to extend one of those guys, Peterka or Quinn. Peterka wanting out kind of made it easy to move on from that. So you move Peterka out, add a couple other pieces, and then you just bridge Quinn, which he was never going to get a deal anyway. So now it just kind of buys you a couple more years to see, can he, turn into that player that you want to sign long term. I don't think that ship has sailed. Is it more towards the negative side right now? Yes, but I don't I don't know. I think he can bounce back. So we'll just see what happens this year, I guess.
Yeah, I agree, dude. Like, I'm a Jack Quinn truther. Like, I know when the season starts, and if he starts looking like Bambi on skates again, I'm gonna be like, this sucks. But at the same time, like, he did show like small flashes of like what he could be, like maybe towards the end of the year a little bit. So it's just betting on him, and we'll see what happens. There's really nothing else to say because
What do you
injuries
think
kind
is?
of.
Do you have like a comp for him? Like a ceiling case for Jack Quinn, like right now, like who do you see out there that's like this could be Jack Quinn if he like reaches his potential?
Dude, honestly, I don't even know. Like, give me like a. If you would have asked me like 2 years ago, I'm like, this guy is going to be a second line right winger that plays on your first power play on the right
He's got a
wall
shot.
and
Yeah.
scores 30 goals and gets 30 assists and he's going to be a 60-point guy. Now I'm like, can he score?
Is he Jeff Skinner?
Can he score 20 goals? Well, dude, Jeff Skinner was good in his prime. He scored 40 fucking goals and he scored 30 goals for like 10 years in a row. So, like, can you give me 20 goals, please?
Yeah,
Like, just give me
but
20
Quinn can
goals.
score goals.
I think I'm happy with that. I think I'd be happy if he scored 20 goals and got like, 45 points from a third line role, or like even if he plays well and he
What did
elevates.
Quinn get? Well, how many goals did Quinn have last year?
I think he scored a bunch in his sleep, which is like the scary part. Hold on.
That's what I'm. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's what makes me optimistic. Is like I mean, last year was a mess for him, and I think he still kind of like walked into like 20 goals. Like so, I still see potential there. So I'm fine with the deal. It's just kind of one of those all right, prove it deals,
This
and
is crazy to
if
me.
it
This is
works out,
crazy.
then
He
we'll pay
scored
you.
15 he scored 15 goals and had 24 assists for 39 points in 74 games. Like those are decent counting
Yeah.
stats from a guy that played as much as him. Like obviously, and he got the previous 2 seasons. Uh, he was banged up a little in 22, and then his rookie year with the kid line was so much fun. Uh, and then the next year was
Mm-hmm.
stolen from him, and then he came back, and this was the first year with the injury, and it's like I don't know. Like he scored 15 goals in his fucking sleep. So like at the same time, I'm like, what can this guy be?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's just his role, and so can he develop further into like a nice power play contributor? That would be a nice development. If that happens, can he be a little more responsible defensively and just not a liability? When he's out there, then I guess we'll see. Let's move on to Byram here. So this was a big question mark going into the offseason. Will they get to arbitration? I mean, will they trade him? The Byram noise was crazy, and
Yeah,
it
it
was
was.
like for a couple weeks there, it was back and forth. Every day was changing. With the wind, basically, what was going to happen with Byram, and ultimately he signs a 2-year, $13 million deal that'll walk him right into unrestricted free agency in 2027. So, what are your thoughts with the Byram deal? Like that he stayed? Were you hoping for a trade?
I was hoping for a trade because I don't think this player is very good outside of playing with Dahlin, and I think that you could put a lamppost next to Rasmus Dahlin and be good. So like the perception around the league was that he had a lot of value, and I was like, let's capitalize on that. But now that he's here and he's here for 2 years, we're gonna stick him hopefully right next to Rasmus Dahlin, and he'll be perfectly fine. Very surprised though, to be honest with you. Very, very,
Do
very
you
surprised.
think? Yeah, I was surprised there was not a. What do you think happened there? Like, why if he supposedly had all this perceived value, why wasn't a deal done then?
I kind of think that stuff is a little bit smoke. Like I don't think it's real. Like if you look at all every
Or
single
maybe the fact that he didn't have a deal in place?
that too. Like if you so the way people talk about Byram is like fascinating to me because if you watch him, like even fans of the Sabres, like there are fans that say he's better than Power, and I'm like, what are you watching? Like I don't understand. He is almost he's just as bad defensively. He for his credit, he can shoot the fucking pill. He can shoot the puck. But everything else in his game I like absolutely hate. He's not big, he's not physical. He he kind of has awful defensive awareness. He was amazing in the playoffs like 3 years ago, and he's kind of living off that still, like at least nationally. But watching all 82 last year, I'm like, I don't see it in this guy, especially away from Darlene. That's just me.
Yeah, there's things I like. There's things I don't like. I I I wonder if I why I'm fine with the deal is again because it's just a 2-year deal. Like whatever, the money is not a big deal because the cap's going up. Like it is what it is. There's some inconsistencies in this game, and like you said, it's not hard to play good with Donleen. But I'm wondering if the nice thing about this deal is that it is tradable, and if he is paired with Darlene for a lot of this contract, you would imagine that he's probably going to accumulate some good counting stats. Like even if he's
Yeah,
not necessarily like running the first power play. So if he's putting up good stats and first off, that's good for Buffalo if he's doing that because that means
Right.
that he's getting points and we're like good things are happening. But also in a couple years, if we're deciding like we're going to move this contract, well, he's just going to up his value on a very tradable deal. Granted, he'll be a UFA, but like teams could do a sign and trade, like all that type of stuff, you know. So it's also a deal that I feel like there's prospectively maybe like good trades down the line if he's successful in Buffalo and puts up some good stats. So I guess we'll see. I have no issues with it. I feel like my opinion on it was changing week by week. When they made the Peterka deal, I definitely wanted them to trade um, power or sorry Byram. Then I blanked on his name for a second, but when they made the Peterka deal,
I was letting you work through it.
yeah. So when they made that deal, I was hoping for one because I'm like, all right, well, we just acquired this big defenseman. Can we work that decor out a little bit and get another solid winger in here for a player like Byram who has some decent trade value, but then again, I'd be like, I don't mind if we sign him because I don't think he's bad. You probably would have to play him with Darlene. And again, despite some of the inconsistencies, the decor looks a lot better with him than without him. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing where I'm like, if they would have moved on, I would have been fine. But the fact that they kept them and it's a fine deal, I'm also fine with it too. Just do play with Darlene and do your thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Like, there's nothing else to throw off you there.
Do we think those pairs are set in stone
It's
as
so
far
funny
as the
because
D goes?
all of the like the people that look at like microstats and stuff, if you look at Kesselring's microstats, they'll tell you that like this is the profile of player that would succeed more with Rasmus Dahlin. So I'm interested.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? We can talk about this. I think in preseason, Lindy should just go crazy with the D pairs. I think he should just try everything.
Yeah.
You know, put Dahlin and Timmins
Yeah,
together.
you might
Put
as well.
put Kesselring with Samuelson. Put just go nuts with it and see what works. Like maybe you find something that goes crazy. Like Connor Timmins played a lot of his minutes in Pittsburgh with Erik Karlsson last year, so he's played in the top four. For a good amount of time. So could he be the one to play with Dahlin? Like I don't know. Like I have no idea. I don't want that to happen because I don't think he's that uh like ability wise type of guy, but you never really know. Chemistry is a
Yeah.
weird thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you could definitely dabble with things and that's the time to do it. Um I was just looking up Kesselring's contract to remind myself. So he'll be an RFA after this next year. So
Yep.
he's set to make 1.4 and then he'll be a restricted free agent at the end of this season. So they'll have to work something out with him, but you would imagine that they would do so. But yeah, I think right now you could probably pencil in those pairs as like what they're thinking they want to
Yeah.
do, but then they'll obviously experiment with stuff come the preseason.
Hey,
Anything
can
else
I
you want to
can I
talk about
can I
as
bring
far
up
as like
something
the
that's I think
forward
is very
groups go?
underrated?
Yeah,
Um, the Sabres basically did not have a real preseason last year or a real training camp because they started the
right.
season overseas.
Yeah, so it'll
Like,
be nice to be back to normal this year.
yeah, so like they'll be here. I'm sure that the guys are skating already. Like I'm sure that there's guys skating at Harbor Center, uh, like in stuff now, like preparing for the season. So it's probably great for them to just be like, all right, we're here. We'll do our training camp. I think, you know, the main group of guys out of how many preseason games do we have? Like five or six. The main group will probably play
Yeah, it's usually around 5 or 6.
three of those, maybe. Like the home, like maybe. So I don't know, dude. I feel like that's very important for this group specifically. Like going overseas was such a joke.
Well, not to mention, you also had Lindy. So you had new head coach trying to install a new system, and you had some new players added into the mix, as there is every season, and you have a young team. So like there's all these variables, and then right away you had to basically split the team in two, because you had to keep basically your B team here, and then take your what your thought your supposed starting NHL lineup overseas,
Yep.
and you didn't really get that experimental time, and then you're doing all the travel and things like that, and I'm sure it was fun for a lot of those guys, but you have the preseason is for getting ready for the season. So I think they'll benefit this year from just being here. This is our job this year. We're not exploring a new city. We're not doing any of that. Like, we're showing up. We know what to expect from a Lindy, training camp, and we got to come in shape, and hopefully, hopefully that's the way it goes, and they benefit from having a little bit more, regularity with
Do
that.
you,
Any Go ahead.
do you want to know what I remember about last year's opening two games? So the
Well,
opening
I know
game,
they were both against Jersey.
so they were against Jersey, but the reason I'm saying this is because Quinn was born on the day of the opener. So that
Oh yeah.
game was in the afternoon. So we spent a lot of time in the NICU with him. And we're sitting there. He's fine. Like, he's great. I told Lexi, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna go watch the Sabres game. Uh, do you mind? Like, we've been there for hours at this point. I'm gonna take a little break from watching him breathe, basically, because that's all we could do." So she said, "Yeah, of course." I remember being up there alone in the hospital room and like watching them on this little hospital TV, and I was like, "Oh, we're in for a long season."
Yep. I mean, it's you knew right away last season, and the disappointing thing about that is, and just like this season, it's important to get off to a fast start for any team in the
I,
NHL. And
dude, I'm still
so,
carrying trauma from 2 years ago when the four of us went to the opener against the Rangers and we got shellacked, and we
five to
we were just
one. I still
depressed.
remember the score.
And Lexi and Katie are like, "I'm sorry." Like, they were apologizing and shit. Like, they were like apologizing for how terrible the Sabres played. Like, our wives saw the sadness on our faces and were like, "This was not good."
Oh my god, I know. Seriously, wasn't Lundqvist still? I think Lundqvist was still playing. Was
No,
he?
I don't think so. Was he? I don't remember, dude. I don't remember. But either way, Devin Levi started that game.
He,
I think he
I
got
can't.
killed.
Yeah, he might not have been. He might not have been in that.
I don't. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe he
whatever.
came. Maybe he came in at the end of that last year. But still, that first game was so bad. And it's funny because we play the Rangers again this year in our opener, and it's like, that's just bad vibes, dude.
Oh my god. And this dude, the Sabres are doing everything they can to sell tickets right now. That mega deal
Dude,
they just banged out there. Buy the 10 games, get the home opener free. That's a nice deal though.
dude. I'm not gonna lie. That 10 game pack is looking spicy. It is a good
Dude,
deal. It's like
I put it in.
objectively awesome.
I told you I put it in. I picked 10 games again, and these were like top tier games. Like, I picked the Toronto game. I picked a Florida game. I picked the Utah game where like Peterka's coming back. I think I picked two Florida games. I had a Canes game in there. Like, I wasn't picking just like bottom of the barrel teams. I just experimented. I'm like, all right, let's pick these 10 games, and then they're like, boom, you unlock the home opener for free. I'm like, all right, let's go. Sick. Show me the prices, and then dude, $430 a seat for 10 games. I'm like, I could have got tickets for 11 games for $800. I'm like, that's kind of nuts.
Dude, the deal is insane. We might have to talk about this off air, like going half on that.
I could have sold those Toronto ticks and made like a third of my money back, dude.
You could,
Make KeyBank
maybe.
Scotiabank South again. All right, so then we can wrap this up here soon. We pretty much talked about most of this
Right.
stuff. I wanted to just touch on the forward group. Anything here that you want to touch on now about like maybe like line combinations or anything like that, or we can get into that as we go. That's all. It's nothing too much to speak on there, I guess.
I think the lines are kind of set on paper, but I want to see preseason action and I want to see like how they line up in training camp first.
Yeah, I think I'm just looking forward to Zach Benson again and just really seeing
Just
what he
wa-
can do.
watching that child, watching that guy
Zagam was
is
awesome.
he's such a delight. He's such a delight. I would be willing to go through another 15 years with no playoffs if I could watch Zach Benson on my hockey team.
A delight is such a good word to use to describe Zach Benson. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing him play again. And
Ooh, ooh, Benson,
is
Benson
there
conversation.
any like
Should the Sabres extend him?
sleeper? All right, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, I think so for
Like
sure.
now?
When's
Like
he?
what about now?
So he's in.
Dude,
Yeah. So he'll be an RFA next year.
so Jackson Blake of Carolina just signed a long-term deal. I can look up the terms now while I'm like talking, but he
I mean, he's got 2 years and 2 full
let's
years,
see,
and it's under his belt already. He's only 20.
let's see. So Jackson Blake just signed a $40
That's
million
nuts.
deal for an average annual value of 5.12 million. Dude, I would pay that to Zach Benson like right now. If you gave him an 8-year deal for $40 million and he
I
signed, that'd be a steal.
Yeah, it just depends on what he's looking to do. Like I mean, he's only 20. So like he could. I mean, he could sign, a 5 or 6 year deal and then still be looked at as like his next deal being like the prime of his career.
Yeah,
Like he could potentially cash in on two deals here. So,
I
I mean,
truly
I
think
think
if he finds the scoring, like even a little bit, I think his counting numbers will just be look so much better than they are right now. Because he's just kind of too young to score, in my opinion, right now. Like he kind of has the little boy, like he's
yeah,
got strength, but like kind of has like a little boy shot. If it's like a little muffin.
dude, you remember his first goal? The dude
Yeah,
can
through the
score.
legs. That was insane.
Yeah, he's got this skill. He's got the shots. I'm really not worried about like his scoring. I think he'll develop just fine there. And like we know everything else that he brings. Just like the hockey IQ is there, the effort is there, and he seems
Yeah.
like a good locker room guy. All those things kind of matter and factor into things. So if they came out tomorrow and announced that they had extended Zach Benson, I don't care. What is one more year of data going to give you on him? Like you already have 2 full seasons of seeing what he can do, and
Well,
again, these contracts are projecting growth, right? So if you're just projecting him to get better, then you could do that now. If he doesn't, he
what if he
doesn't.
does
But
pop
I
off and let's say
I don't
he
think
does
that's
score
going to happen.
25 goals, then you're really paying for a contract. Because I think he's got that potential to be like a maybe not like a 70, 80 point
Yeah,
guy. Maybe he's more of like a, you know, 20 to 25 goals, 55, 60 points, but he's also like the best defensive forward on your team. Dude, that's a pretty penny right there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I would be fine if it came down to it. It scares me that he probably has a ton of value around the league, and I would not want them to trade him. But he is a guy that I could like if they wanted to make a big move, I could just see a lot of NHL GMs being like, "I need Zach Benson to be in this deal, for me to make this," and like that would really suck.
Yep,
But so I would not want them to trade him, but it's just scary because until he's signed, he's definitely a player that other teams would be calling on and would be interested in working into a package. I think so,
for sure. For sure.
and he's an RFA next year, so you're gonna have to. make a decision on that. Last thing, and then we can kind of wrap up. Is there any players you think that are kind of sleepers like for this year to maybe make the team and make some sort of an impact, like a Kozak or a Ryan Johnson, or I mean even like a Devin Levi, or whoever, anybody that you could see this year, maybe not necessarily making the team from the get go, maybe that, or getting kind of called ups here and there. Like, what do you think there?
Yeah, I think Kozak will be on the team as like your 13th forward, and he'll get games. And I also think that Ryan Johnson gets NHL games this year too, at some point, because injuries, and I just think at
Yeah,
some point, I do think at some point
they
Jacob
both
Bryson gets.
extended for 3 years.
Yeah, yeah. I think Bryson gets waived at some point, and they get serious and bring Ryan Johnson up to the NHL and have him play some games. So we'll see. But yeah, both those guys I think will make the team. Well, at some point we'll just get some games. There are other guys too. Like, does Noah Austin come up and get some more games? What are we
Are
doing with
we? Are we?
Roseanne? Like, there's guys that
I
like
was just
there's
gonna say,
question
are we
marks.
waving the red flag on like Rusek and Roseanne?
Rusek is gone. He actually left for Europe.
Oh shit, I didn't even see that. Okay, well,
Yep.
there's some breaking news. So then Roseanne, I mean, Roseanne is tough because we haven't seen it yet, So I mean, whatever. Like
Yeah, and it's crazy
you
because he
see the
just
potential
dominates the
there, but
AHL.
yeah, could just be an AHLer, but
Yep.
a guy who could come up and surprise, I guess. But yeah, I like Ryan Johnson. I'm a big fan
You are.
of Ryan
You are.
Johnson. I think
You're
the
a big
next
fan of the
the
doctor.
next guys in line would be. Oh yeah, I love him. I love him. And then yeah, the next guys in line. I mean, Kozak showed last year that what he could do, and I think he can play at this level. And then Oslin would probably be the next guy, and maybe Hellenius. Like if he comes out and just shows out like in camp and is
Oh,
lighting the AHL early, but they might just wait on that a little bit more. But
dude,
Consta, he's not bad.
I love Consta. I love him. Watching him in the playoffs for Rochester, that is a mean, mean hockey player. Mean guy. Total asshole.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be good in the NHL. I don't know next
Yep.
year. Like, it might be too soon. But,
Right.
man, if he gets a call up, he's the type of guy that gets a call up and never goes back.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They got some guys down there. I mean, Wahlberg is lower on the list, but we both like Wahlberg. Seemed like he didn't really progress much last year, though. So we'll see, what happens there. But all right, sounds good. Anything else you want to touch on today before we sign out, or no?
Is Alex Tuck ever going to sign a contract, or what are we doing here?
I don't know. Do we? I think we leave that for next show.
Okay. Yeah, but it's just like up in the air, dude. There's not even like any noise about it. Like it's either will he or won't he at this point. And like all the signs are saying he's gonna sign, but like I'm kind of like, why would he do that? So we'll see what happens in the next couple months.
Yeah, yeah. We'll leave. We'll definitely let's plan that for the next show because there's some other like miscellaneous things we can talk about in the next show, and who knows when that will be. We'll try and get that to you guys as soon as you can. I'm hoping that as the season is getting closer, we're a couple months away from the season starting. Hopefully, we can get on a little bit more regularly, whatever,
Yep.
every couple of weeks, every 2, 3 weeks, but try and kind of build
Yep.
up leading to the season. We got a few ideas and things of things that
Listen,
we can do.
it's when hockey's back,
But yeah, let's
we're
talk about
back.
Tuck next time. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, if we wanted to retire the show, it would have already been retired. Like we're
Yeah,
going,
no,
baby. We're
we were
going.
just
We're
we were just doing adult shit. That's why we couldn't record. Like, and the Sabres are miserable. I'm sure if like we were the Dallas Stars, I'd be like, we got to come on here and talk about them every day. You know?
well, and how much fun is like reliability? Like how boring is it? If it's like every Wednesday you're gonna see a Saber spotlight. When it's
Yeah.
like every 6 months, it's like bam, here we are.
And then we get the same amount of listeners every time, which is insane.
Yeah. So thanks to our loyal base out there that's sticking with us, which is pretty cool. So
Yeah, we'll be back for
hopefully that
hockey
builds up a
season.
little bit more in the
Like
season too.
we'll be
But we
back.
will.
we'll be back for the season for sure. We'll come. We might even see us next week. You don't know. We don't know.
We'll keep you guys in suspense for that. But that'll put a wrap on this one here. As always, check out our socials, the Twitter at Sabres Spotlight, and the email address if you guys have any questions or anything specific you want us to talk about on the show. Then, if you know us personally, text us, whatever, or the email is linked in the show notes below. So check that out. Other than that, we will see you guys in the next episode. And as always, stay safe in the Saberhood. Later.
Yeah.